wait a minute, something isn't right. I've got a promotion and a raise this year, but looks like getting a new car will have to wait till next year again. What the hell am I doing wrong? Huh!
You're paying too much tax. Tax! Tax!
Oh, what's happening?
Well, Steve, I see that you work hard, but that has only moved you into the next tax bracket, and you still don't have enough money. Such a pity. Like every law-abiding American, during your lifetime, you'll have given away 1/3 of your earnings as tax. On average, over $530,000 that they shamelessly take from you and spend on stuff that you don't need. Wars, inflated bureaucracy, duck penis research.
Well, yeah, but there's nothing we can really do about paying tax, is there?
Oh, but there is. There's special ways of paying less tax so you can save your money and finally afford that new car instead of the one that your dad lost his virginity in 1973.
What? I didn't know about that. Well, now wait a second, but these ways of paying less tax, are they legal?
Well, they worked for Nicolas Cage and Stephen Baldwin, and they're not complaining. Admittedly, that might be due to the non-disclosure agreement.
Okay, can I just make one Zoom call, real quick? Tony! Yeah, this thing is trying to seduce me, and I don't know if what it's telling me, if it's legal or not. I mean, is this advice gonna help me, or is it going to ruin me? Glad you called! So the idea of saving money by paying less tax is often seductive. Well, let's sort this thing out, shall we? Is it possible to pay less tax without breaking the law? Which methods are legal and which are not? And how can you actually save money? Let's go! Theory!
You're wasting your time, Tony. Our progressive tax system is unfair and demotivating. There are 7 federal tax brackets, and you earn more, and you give away more. And then the state tax with its own brackets on top of that.
That's right.
But the more money Steve can retain, the more he can reinvest into the economy by buying a new car, for example. So it's better for everyone. So I want to show Steve every possible way to evade tax.
Right, well, let's set this straight. There's a difference between tax avoidance, tax evasion, and tax fraud. Tax avoidance, which is the subject of this video, is legally arranging your financial affairs to minimize the tax burden. Tax evasion is an illegal means of underpaying your taxes, usually through hiding some of your financial operations. And tax fraud, which is also obviously illegal, usually involves deliberately falsifying financial documents. Doing any of this illegal stuff, even on a small scale, is not a great idea. But how can I save money while being sure that I'm not doing anything illegal? Ways to minimize tax.
Oh, yeah! I'm just dying to see these so-called legal ways of paying less taxes than you should.
Well, first mistake here, don't expect to pay less tax than you should. But nobody has to pay more than they should. There's several ways to reduce your taxable income. First, and the most obvious one, avoid paying more tax than you should in penalties and interest on unpaid tax. If you don't file your tax return by the deadline, which is normally in April of each year, you may have to pay a monthly 5% interest on the unpaid tax, up to a maximum of 25%. You can also apply for an extension until October, but remember, it's the extra time to file the tax return, not to pay the taxes owed. So it's better to make the actual payment before the original deadline to avoid any penalties. And of course, you have to state all of your income in your tax return.
Think about it, Steve. Is it really so necessary to include all of your income? Like that time that you helped your neighbor fixing their roof for $200, or the money that you got as a freelancer for reports you did for a Dutch company. I mean, come on. That's surely not our IRS's business, is it?
You know, that sounds right. I mean, why do they care?
I managed to convince one of my previous clients, famous actor Wesley Snipes, that he wasn't liable to pay income tax at all because he was a non-resident alien. So anything paid to him from non-US sources wouldn't be taxed.
Remind me, did he ever call you after getting released from prison?
Honestly, not really, but I'm sure I'm in his thoughts.
Remember, tax evasion is easily punishable. For example, it was the only thing that they were able to prosecute Al Capone for. Yes, apparently lying on your tax returns was easier to prove than actually killing people. And in the modern world, where most money is digital, it's even easier. Another way to reduce your taxable income is to put money into savings accounts which are pre-tax, so essentially non-taxable, such as the 401k retirement plan, health savings account, and education savings plans for your children. In 2023, you can reduce your taxable income by a maximum of $22,500 if you put that sum or less into your 401k account. Plus, you get to be a well-off, cool 70-year-old. Not pipe and slippers, but a
different sort of pipe and strippers? Yeah, Steve, enjoy your life in the 70s if arthritis and hemorrhoids let you. That's what they want you to do.
Basically, the better you plan your finances in the long term, the less tax you pay. Next, if you have a company, even as a side hustle, you can write off certain things as business expenses. Business trips, stationery, computers, this sort of thing. But be careful.
Yes, you can go on vacation to Hawaii and say it's research. I know that I've always wanted to go.
Oh yes, claiming private expenses as business expenses is a very common and illegal tax evasion scheme. The IRS have more than enough experience dealing with field research of 15 different pina colada recipes, I'm afraid. But for example, if you need a laptop for work and you write it off as a business expense, nobody will actually mind if you play a bit of Dota on it. Well, apart from perhaps your girlfriend, of course.
Oh, I remember one of my former clients, Leona Helmsley, who is involved in a famous court case in 1989. She and her husband wrote off millions of dollars as business expenses. They owned a chain of hotels, so they could buy luxury things and hire staff for their home as if it were for hotels. Really quite clever, you know.
So, another thing. There are multiple tax credits made to reduce taxes, from caring for children and other dependents to some really exotic ones, such as installing solar panels at your home to produce renewable energy. Research all the tax credits. You never know which ones you might be eligible for.
Yes! Or just claim all of them! I mean, they only look at the papers anyway. Nobody will check how many solar panels you actually have installed.
Finally, long-term investments such as stocks, bonds, cryptocurrency, real estate, and so on are good ways of reducing taxable income. Hold the assets for more than a year, and the profits they generate will qualify for a lower long-term capital gain tax rate. So if your investments are long-term and not speculative, you get another tax benefit.
Steve, don't listen to him. There are offshore accounts, shell companies, false expenses, ways to really pay less taxes.
All right, stop, hold everything. Even if we turn a blind eye to his advice being quite dangerous, he's simply mixing up the cause and the effect. In reality, lowering your tax returns should never be the goal in itself. Minimizing your taxable income actually comes as a side effect of a more proper planning of your personal finances. More people make long-term investments, put money into their retirement savings, healthcare, and education for their kids, the more stable and predictable the country's economy becomes. So when you learn to do your financial planning better, paying less taxes comes as a bonus. So Steve, it's all in your hands. You know what? I think I actually get it. Be gone, you evil thing! Go and Seduce another washed-up showman or a hotel owner or a head of a criminal syndicate.
All right, fine. Although, why choose?
Woo. Excuse me, Mr. Trump, you have a visitor.